Hello all, welcome back to Beskidy. We're right here starting by grandfather, and you know, a friend of mine told me something about this character, the specific model that's here. Oh, he's probably gonna have to put it in the comments as to where he came from. Apparently another computer game called Stalker or something like that. Anyway, but in here he's just grandpa, a little cantankerous, but you know, he sits here on the bench and he doesn't bother us. Anyway, welcome. We heard the rooster crow, and right ahead of us, actually right out in our yard, we have our tractor with the tedder and the rake that we've been using. And I gotta say, off cam, I took some time. I tedded every single hayfield that we had, and not only tedded them, but I kind of raked them. You know, we'll see how this works. I'm still kind of feeling my way along, trying to figure out, you know, the best way to do this. You know, looking at this thing, it's also a rake. I mean, it's a rake and a tedder both, and I was sent a video by a friend. I think it was added to a comment on another video that I had showing some real life use of this particular rake. I think in the video that I watched on YouTube, it was raking at the time. And it's interesting. I think it was a Polish video, and the comments were also, I believe, in Polish. Someone said it works well as a, they didn't use the word tedder, but they said a tosser? No, that wasn't a word. I can't remember. A scatter, some word that they use, I guess, to toss the hay up in the air or whatever. I gotta be careful. That's probably the wrong word to say in English. It'll mean something different to someone in the UK. But I gather that they meant it was all right as a tedder, but it was less effective as a rake. And I gotta say, let me just hop into this tractor here real quick. It's gonna show that silly sign, but at least I can open my mouse pointer here. When you raked, it appeared it had some attachment that came off the end, and it was over kind of about here, kind of a shield, if you will. So that when you were raking, it would come off here and probably bump into the shield and would form kind of a nice windrow. It makes me wonder that if when it was in tedding mode, maybe the shield was lifted, and you see we don't have it here. It actually would be a really nice addition to the mod if when we put it in, well, right now it's in windrow mode. It would be nice if when it was in windrow mode that it had a little arm that showed up and it had the shield. I think that'd be a really cool addition. You know, where you could distinguish visually between which mode it was in. So anyway, it was interesting to see that video. Thank you, Kanopkis Udranam. I appreciate seeing that to kind of get some idea of how it works in real life. And one of the things I noticed, because I don't know what I'm doing in here. Y'all have been watching me. I'm stumbling around all over the place. But one of the things the fellow that was operating it was doing is he was going around and around the field. And, well, I don't know if it's going all the way around, but he kept moving the windrow over. You know, each pass that he did would grab the previous windrow and it would shoosh it just a little bit further so he can make a big windrow kind of more in the middle. And you know, as we head out to the field, I gotta say that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Oh, let's see here. You know what? We probably don't even need these trailers out here anymore. But you know, someone was commenting recently, you know, it was just kind of funny to read the comments, basically saying I was taking too long to get the job done. And you know what? They're absolutely right. You know, it took forever and a day to get this meadow cut, tedded, baled, and hauled. But look at that. It's empty. We got the job done. So what can I say? It's just we were dealing with some mod issues at the time. Here, let me hop to another. Oh, what's this one on? Oh yeah, this is on our mower. So that also is sitting back at the farm. All right, here we are. Now, I also baled some. I was experimenting, and you see kind of what I did in this field. And for those of you that are from Poland or that are used to that particular tedder, would I do something like this? I opted to run the tedder only versus using it as a rake. Maybe I need to bring it back through here and treat it as a rake. So ultimately what's happening is, I would come, again, sorry for the courseplay thing, but I would run the tedder, say, down here. The tractor come along here, and meanwhile it's kicking material kind of over to the middle. Then, and this was using GPS, then I would come up the other way, kind of along over here, and it continues to pitch it into the middle. And so in other words, I think the material is gathering here, and kind of in the spirit of what that fellow was doing on the video that I saw, where he was raking it into a larger and larger windrow. Now, I know we gotta be careful how we do the ad here in Farm Sim 13, because I know there's a limit. And once the limit is reached, you can no longer put material on here. I think it's just lost. So, but this particular windrow, so-called, not raked, really is too, even though we expanded the working area of the baler, it's too wide. So you can see kind of what the baler's taken in, and I just kind of had to figure out a way to do this. So I think, like on this one over here, we're going to bring the baler down this side, and then we'll bring them up the other side. And hopefully that's enough to pick up all the material. Anyway, without much further ado, let me get this cranked up, and I think I can. Looks like we have roughly half full of fuel. Let's get our baler going. I love the animated parts on here. Even our PTO shaft is turning. How cool is that? There was a particular mod I know I gotta save on Farm 7. A mod that was one of those. It wasn't limited to, it was a script mod. It wasn't limited to a particular baler or attachment, but because the game identifies the PTO points, you always know where they attach. So it was able to, is that right too fast? Would you bale at 12 miles an hour? Shoot, I don't know. But folks, we are picking up all the material. Let's crank it out bales. Well, not quite as rapid as the other row. Well, maybe if I slowed down a bit, it would. Yeah, maybe it doesn't make any difference at all. There. Yeah, I think we pretty well managed to do that without having to go back over it. So I feel pretty good about it. I think we can. I just come along the left side again, and I'll come back the same way on the other side. Let me see if I can do that. And yeah, by pushing my luck, it's over. I know I've mentioned this before. I don't know how well you can hear the baler. Maybe I'll try to amplify the sound when I take this into editing. I am almost positive you can hear people talking. It's probably just me, but anyway. But I like it. I like the moving parts. I like seeing the machine work. Yeah, and that other mod that I found for Farm Sim 17, it was pretty cool because any PTO shaft that it found, whether it was on the front of the machine or on the rear of the machine, wherever it was, whatever it was doing, whether it was a tractor and an implement, kind of like we have in a baler, or a mower, or even if it was the, like a swather that had a mower deck in front and a PTO shaft connected to it, it would turn the PTO shafts. Whereas the one that we have here, I don't know that it isn't a generic mod. I think it's only our baler that's going to do this, unless, we have a mod that has a PTO, something that turns a PTO on it. So I kind of think it's a little unique to this particular mod, but it's very cool. Love to see it. And aside from being a little different in terms of setting up, I am enjoying this baler. These small bales, most of the time in Farming Sim, probably because, for a while the game was so limited you couldn't pick up objects. As the game went, they started creating things. Oopsie, there I left a little bit. Sneak in and grab that. There we go. Don't want to tangle with a bale. We like to spit them out kind of on this road here. Just trying to avoid them. But because we couldn't, oops, sorry, wrong button I'm hitting. Because we couldn't pick up objects for so long, that's probably why in-game, ever since Farm Sim 09 or whatever it was that they started having bales, that they made them so big that you had to use the machinery to pick them up anyhow. You could maybe hit them. I mean, I know for a while, back in the days when I had Farm Sim 09, before I had a, let's see, how did this go? They had a mod or something, or I don't think they had a DLC for Farm Sim 09, but there was an add-on, maybe it was Gold Edition for Farm Sim 09, and before I had Gold Edition, you had no choice with bales but to put them on a trailer and haul them to the barnyard, where you could offload it. Well, I say you had no choice. What I did is, because those trailers were just brutal. There is no way. I defy anyone to tell me they were able in Farm Sim 09 to routinely stack bales on those trailers. They just wouldn't stay on there. The physics were awful back then. So I couldn't, I'll never forget the game that I had, going when I was out cranking out bales. I did a whole field of them, and then going to get a tractor with a front end loader. I was really going to figure this out and get them on a trailer, and wow, did I run into a not only was it challenging to run the front loader and try to pick up the bales, but then I learned real quick that it was impossible basically to stack the bales on the trailer. And I think the Giants knew this, so they came out with a Gold Edition. They had to write a whole new script for it, just to be able to have a trailer that would pick up the bales and stack them. Let's see if I can skitter around this. Alright, where am I headed? Alright, heading up to the next one here. But that was the only way. And even then, it still wasn't perfect. Anybody remembering Farm Sim 09 knows there was an elevator, a bale elevator, kind of in the middle of the barnyard that would haul them things up into the haymow, and that's kind of how they would be sold. Well, even that was problematic, because once you got the bales there, then you still had to lift them up into the hopper of the bale elevator just to get them to head on up into the building to be sold, and even that was no guarantee. Sometimes you got the silly things on their sideways and they didn't want to cooperate, and so it was extremely difficult handling bales, let alone not having the ability to pick them up by hand. Well, I think Farm Sim, let me think now here. I know hand tools became a thing as early as Farm Sim 09 through some mods. But in terms of being in-game, I kind of think the first time we saw it was Farm Sim 15, where you could purchase a chainsaw, because that's when forestry was introduced, and use a chainsaw to cut down the tree. But you really were limited in what you could hold in your hand. You still couldn't pick up a bale. You couldn't pick up anything off the ground. I do remember that this mod for Farm Sim 15, it was called the Push mod, where, hold on, I'm leaving material here. Whoops. Where you could push objects, like push it into a bucket loader, or onto something, push it along the ground. And I'm leaving a lot of material on the ground. And maybe this isn't the best way to do this after all. I'm going to be running over. Hopefully I'm pushing those bales forward. Is there another bale underneath there that I'm... Oh yes, there is one hiding in there, just waiting to throw my tractor sky high with these wonky physics. Yep, just like that. I almost... Yeah, see, it's fighting with... just like it would in real life. Oh, nothing to see here. Let me just try to... Yeah, see, and now what do you do here? What I really need is some kind of a shield or something on the tractor, but I kind of think I can cheat this just a fuzz, and I think the bales will pass through there. Yeah, so let me pick it up. Well, this is kind of not according... There we go, we got free of the bales. I think it'll let me run right through. Yeah, I don't know why it'll let me through like that, but it is. Alright, let me come to the end. I'm gonna have to move that other trailer just a fuzz. Get out of here. I'm probably gonna be able to run. Nope. Move this tractor forward. It's kind of amusing to me that the trailer for this appears in front of the tractor, not in the back of it. Ah, it's already picking it up. Turn it off so we're not wasting fuel. Back to here. I didn't even check to see if it's normal to get in and out of the cab on either side. Alright, let's turn this thing back on. I'm listening very close. I don't hear the human voice. Yeah, I can't really get closer to hear it. I'm almost positive I hear other noise in there. This is going to drive me nuts. Maybe what I need to do is open the mod again and see if I can play the sound file and see if I can identify other voices in there. So maybe I should need to take a little bit wider here. Maybe some of these windrows were better formed than others. You know, I may need to look for a video of the tedder thing again, back to that, of watching it in tedding mode. And, you know, I probably should have started over here so I didn't have to navigate all these bales. Well, what would I do if I didn't have something to complain about? Well, hit the... yeah, there's a fair amount out here to back up and go forward a time or two to collect all this material. But you know, the video that Kanopke Zuranum showed me was of it raking, and now I'm wondering what it looks like, or kind of what the appearance is when it's in tedding mode. And like I say, I'm betting that they probably take that shield off. And I got that one little dab in there, waste off, whatnot. Got it. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I love the trees in here, but sometimes they can kind of get in the way a little bit. Turn the other way. So this is very likely not the way that it's done in real life, but I do notice that it's working in here. So you can't argue with results, right? Right. When I initially tried this, I tried baling kind of on the right side, heading down this way. And of course, all it did was put the bales right in the middle of the windrow that I still needed to pick up. So that was rendered ineffective. And you know, another thing I'm going to try to do differently in the future is probably not to put the windrows into the creek. I don't think that's very helpful here. So trying to take some farming notes so the next time when I come this way, as it were, I'll hopefully do a little better. Yeah, it's hard to turn around when you got all these 3D obstacles. So, and you know, I haven't looked at these tractors to see if I grabbed that bale and took it right underneath. Good grief. I haven't looked and inspected these tractors to see if they hold anything on their front. Oh, there's some good old farming sim physics. Threw them things clear over there into the other windrow. Ah, wish we picked that up. There we go. So, kind of back to the picking up of objects. That didn't really happen till 15. We had this push mod to push things out of the way. It was kind of a nifty little mod, but really to pick things up by hand, any object in the game that wasn't deemed, you know, too heavy for the player. That didn't happen until Farms M17. And, you know, then you would see mods of super strength. You know, I think they probably still got that clear up into Farm Sim 22, where you could pick up whole pallets, you could pick up machines, you could pick up the house if it wasn't attached, you know, just those kinds of things, to where, you know, it would start to make small bales more of an option, you know, if you wanted to go out there and by hand pick some of those bales up. The hard part is I still... with the bale physics being what they are, I still don't know that you'd be able to stack them or do any, oh good grief, any of the normal things, you know, that you'd expect to be able to do with small bales. Alright, we're going round and around. Yeah, I really made a mistake I should have started on this end of the field, so didn't have to turn around into the bales. But it is what it is. And we're making it work, even though it isn't visually maybe the way we'd like to see it. This is where it'd be nice to have another player so they could help with hauling the bales over to this farmer kind of across the way, just a little bit to the north, who feeds it to his horses or something in there. Well, no, wait, the horses are way up on the west side. That's right. Ah, there's a steep ditch over here. Got a tree in the way. All these impediments to farming. All the better to make me complain. There we go. I think we picked that whole thing up. Here's kind of a curious mark in the field. I see a tire track. I was noticing that earlier when I was heading in here. I don't know if that's a mistake and where the map author intended it, or if this formerly had some other markings in it and then he came and overlaid it with grass and just didn't take enough of it up, to cover it over with green. That occasionally happens. Oh, now that bale is stuck in there. Of course, maybe if I used the attachment to this, a trailer, to pick up all the bales and kind of put them in a special trailer and use the attachment that I know is part of this baler, we could avoid the hoopla of kind of stepping over the bales like we've been doing. But you know something? I think there's a dab. Look at that. I got another extra windrow to pick up over there. So I'll need to do that. So again, making some notes to definitely handle this field a little bit differently in the future. Because part of the problem is this pesky ditch over here, which is a great obstacle. I know I sound like I'm complaining, but this is a great map. I'm still enjoying it a lot, and love the extra details that he put in here. Missed it. Oh, don't kick it too far. Let me see here. Alright, so we got some here. We got some kind of over on the other side. But otherwise, kind of like I started off saying, most of the bale activity in Farming Sim, kind of from the get-go, was with the larger bales, so it's refreshing and kind of fun to do it here with the smaller bales. You know what? I probably better come take it. Looks like it just wants to bust off. It probably isn't until... Yeah, just hanging on by that'll be just my luck. It'll dump it off over the ditch over here. Phew, we are going to be done. There we go. There we go. We finished it. Alright. Well, and the question I have, the game has never given me trouble with having lots of bales or lots of physics objects on here. I kind of have described them as a problem. Well, you can see kind of what they're doing to my tires. But I was meaning more the bale physics. I know there's actually limits. If you play this on a console, I think they limit how many you can have on or in the game at any given time. I'm not sure what the limit is. I have to study the code to find it, if it's even available. Not all the code was available for Farm Sim 13, so may not even be able to find it, and it might be even a limitation for on a PC to where at some point you are no longer able to bale. So here now, maybe what I need to do is start over here. I need to kind of... No. You know what? I don't want to do this windrow until I'm done, because it's going to litter it full of bales. Yeah, let me think better of that. See, I'm trying to learn. I'm gonna... Well, first I got to avoid this pole. I'm going to come in this way. We'll sneak right in here. I know some have asked, why I don't use the no collision mod. I kind of think it was on this series someone asked, and I've always liked seeing just where my tractor is, no matter what I'm doing. Unless I have to have it, I apologize if there's too much zooming in or zooming out, as it just kind of does this, as objects come between the camera, where I'm sitting up here in third person and in the machine itself. Oh my goodness, you know what? It lets me take most of that windrow, so I'm going to just eat it for breakfast. We'll turn around here on our neighbor's property. Yeah, it's cranking those out over there. We still have one little pass to do. Pick up this little dab, because I couldn't quite get all of it. Is this too fast? I just don't know how fast baling would be done in real life. It seems like this was more of an appropriate speed. I mean, even there, you're at 6 miles an hour. It's the same speed as a combine. I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell me I'm too fast. Someone will tell me I'm too slow. So maybe it's just about right. So, as we near the end of the time here, I'm going to have myself kind of some work to do here, probably mainly off cam. Man, I can get, look at this. Hey, I'm getting most of this. You know, this one over here, let me see now. You know, I was experimenting at this point. This one here, maybe I raked. I'm trying to remember now. I might have raked this. Is that a little depth? Yeah, that is. I gotta come get that. This side of the field, I might have just raked to see what the difference would be with just tedding it versus raking. And I think we can see that with a rake going, we basically can pick up the whole windrow with our baler. Whereas if we ted it the way we were doing it, it makes too wide of a windrow to do that. So we end up having to make 2 passes. Either way, we're getting the job done. So, but anyhow, everybody heard the bell. Thank you so much for coming along for a little bit. I have a pile load of work to do in here. I'll try to do some of it off cam. And I just thank you so much for coming along. For any comments that you want to leave, telling me how to do things correctly or whatever I'm particularly interested in, or whatever thoughts you have. Thank you so much for coming along, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.